Masterclass. Masterclass comes to you every Wednesday at 1:15 p.m. and runs all the way through to 2 p.m. here on your superstation, Joy 99.7. My name is Yabanafo, and I'm your host for the show. I'm excited particularly about today's show because we've been talking in the last couple of weeks about social media and how we can use that to help develop our businesses or to build our businesses as entrepreneurs. Last week we had a session here in the studio which I literally termed Social Media 101. And so we sort of took a lot of notes on some of the URLs. And I'm sure you want to know what a URL is. Today, our resource person will be telling us more about it. But how do you set up a page? How do you put your product out there? Literally, we went through the various steps to go through in putting your product out there on social media. Today, we want to continue that discussion. We'll do a quick recap of what we talked about last week here on the show, and then we move straight onto Twitter. We've done Facebook, we want to move on to Twitter, and then we'll talk about strategy in the subsequent shows. But back here in the studio again with us today on the show is our favorite social media expert, lecturer, consultant, the person of Mr. Chris Wala Esikwe. Chris, you're welcome back to the studio.
Thank you, Naya. It's good to be here again.
Right, today you have a song, but I will play it for you sometime during the show.
No problem.
Which song do you want us to play today?
It's Harvest Time. I think it was originally done by Coco T, but Don Carlos also did it.
Harvest Time, okay.
Yes.
I'm smiling at my producer, so they'll set it up for me.
That is fine.
Right, how was your week anyways?
It's been good. It's been good.
Great.
I mean, Accra life, the stress of traffic and so
What's
on.
trending on social media?
Many things. There's this interesting hashtag that has literally divided the faith community. People standing with others, and people having issues with people who are standing with others, and so on and so forth. I mean, it's been trending for the entire week. But hey, that is what it is.
Right.
Yes.
The power of social media. You know, these days the thing happens and in seconds, it's out there.
You don't actually have the luxury of time. Before you say Jack, you are out there. Look, when we come to talk about social media crisis communication or online reputation management, you would understand that if crisis hits you on Twitter, for example, you have only 4 seconds to take control of the narrative. If you don't, you lose it.
Wow.
Yes, it is that fluid.
Wow. There are some statistics that we shared earlier. You know, for example, and I always like to start with this, that so people know how active social media is. For those who are already on social media, they know. But for most people who are also not on social media, it's the place that things are happening now. It's a place that doesn't go to sleep. It's the place that everybody is today. So if you're a business person, whether or not you like social media, unfortunately, with all the vices that it comes with, it's also the place to put your business. So for example, on Instagram, and there was this little joke that, you know, it was shared between two friends somewhere in the city of Accra. So this person was going to have a meal at a restaurant, and they get served their food, and click, they take a photograph, and they post it. They're having a drink, click, they take a picture and they post it. And this other person was like, why are you taking pictures of everything, even your food? And the response was that it's called Instagram, not Latergram.
That's a nice one. It has to be instant.
It has to be instant.
Yes.
And there's almost 800 million active monthly users on Instagram alone.
Yes.
I mean, you were talking about Twitter. There's up to 5 million tweets per day. And if you break that down into days and seconds, I mean, you were sharing that data much earlier on.
We said that would translate to about 57,000 tweets per second.
Per second.
So it's that fast.
And it's information.
It's information.
Whether it's relevant or not as you consider it. It's going round anyways.
Content people are sharing. Whatever you consider it to be, it is going, and it's going that fast.
One of the questions I'd like to ask, maybe not now, not on the show, in the future, is seeing us there are almost faceless people on Facebook or on social media saying almost every and anything. What is the position of the law? Because this is across international boundaries, across legal provinces everywhere. Not today. I mean, I'm just asking the question that you know, if there's anybody who has experience, maybe you can call in when the phone lines are open. Later on in the show, you can send us a comment on our WhatsApp line. Let me put that out now. That's 0244 340 437. That's 0244 340 437. Well, let's do a quick recap. Last week you mentioned something about willing your rights.
Yes.
On social media when you have died and passed on. What was that about? Do that recap for me and let's go straight into Twitter today.
Okay, so last week I was telling you about the whole concept of digital afterlife. You see, every content you have on social media today, we call them your digital assets. Just like in the physical world, you can will your properties, your facilities to people, to your next of kin. You can do same on social media. For Facebook in particular, if you want to choose what we call your legacy contact, you go to your your general account settings, and then go to manage account.
Right.
So you go to general settings, go down to manage account.
And this is willing your property.
Yes.
Hold that thought for me. We'll come back to it when we open the phone lines.
All right.
Let's go straight to Twitter.
All right, that's fine. Okay, so let me just use the opportunity again to say a big welcome to our listeners from across the globe and those who are watching us online. Nanaya, let me tell you something. This thing called Twitter, depending on which school you went to, the word is either Twitter or Twitter. And me, the school I went to,
It's either potato or potato.
The name of my school can even make you fail your exams. So in my school, we call it Twitter. Those who went to the abuse schools, yeah, they call it Twitter.
I suppose there's the difference between the American and the British pronunciation.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I've not had abuse. So
no, but we are after the British system, isn't it? So we'll say Twitter.
Twitter. Okay. So I'm learning from you.
The Americans will say Twitter.
Thank you. All right. And you see, this thing has been with us many years ago. In my village at Blamezado, when women are going to the riverside or they are going to the market, they talk among themselves. So Jatubi Dada will tell Sukuto, hey, have you heard? Oh, Kofi Besa has impregnated Alubao. Oh, really? She has tweeted. Then Sukuto will carry it and tell Abna, have you also heard? Oh, Jatubi Dada said, so she has mentioned Jatubi Dada and says what Jatubi Dada has said. Now, that is a retweet. So this thing has been with us many years. So it got to the space of the white people and they decided to give it a name. So Twitter is pretty much gossiping and it happens like not very fast. So today, what we want to do, just the basics of Twitter. So I want to call this tweet class 101.
Right.
So first of all, what is a tweet? And we are going to correct some expressions we have used around this subject today. So a tweet is that 140 character or 280, it was changed at some point, character message that you put on Twitter. That is, if you have the account. A retweet is resharing or giving credit to someone else's tweet. A feed is a stream of tweets you see on your homepage when you log onto your account. Then we also have the handle or your identity or your username. So my username or my handle or my identity on Twitter is Chris Waller or at Chris Waller. At that @ sign, then my first and second names, Chris Waller. That is my identity. Now, if you want to mention me in anything, the expression mention is a way to reference another user by using their username in a tweet. So if you want to say something about me on Twitter or you want to mention me, you just type at my name will pop up, you literally quote it, and then say whatever you want to say. That is mentioning me. It's a way users are notified when they are mentioned. So you mention me, I get notified that somebody has mentioned me, and then I go to respond. So it's a way to conduct discussions with people. So somebody says anything, you go respond, you go reply or retweet, you mention them, they know. Then there's also direct messaging, which is a stream of tweets you see on your home page. Then there's this interesting one we call hashtag. Hashtag is a place of aggregation around a subject matter. So there are labels that indicate the subject matter of a certain conversation taking place on Twitter. So for instance, I have, if you like, patented, please, not legally, a hashtag on Facebook I call I love Ghana by default. How do you create these hashtags? Usually it could be a whole sentence that you put all together as one word. Normally you separate each word by starting the next word with a capital letter. So I love Ghana by default starts with I, capital I, then capital L, which for love. Ghana starts with capital G, by starts with capital B, and default starts with capital D. Well, it is just a way of literally separating the words. You can choose to leave all of them in caps or in small letters. I mean, it's not like anybody will hold your neck to it. So you can use the hashtag to go into that space where a certain subject is being discussed. So if anybody goes onto Facebook right now and clicks on or looks for hashtag I love Ghana by default, everything else I have said and used that hashtag for, or anybody else has used the same hashtag for, will find all of that content. The person will find all of that content on Facebook. So it's a way of aggregating conversation. So it's a discovery tool, if you like. Then there is follow. You hear journalists say it all the time. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. Last time I was asking, many of the people who ask you to follow them are not really going anywhere. So be sure whoever you want to follow is going somewhere before you follow them. So to follow somebody means to subscribe to a Twitter account. So please, all of you listening to me now, go on to Twitter if you have a Twitter account and look for Chris Wola E. There's an E at the end, that is the name, but the handle is at Chris Wola. Wola is WORLA. And follow me, please. I'm going somewhere, so follow me. Let's go. Follow me. Let's do this at Chris Wola. So that is a way of subscribing to my account. Anyone on Twitter can follow or unfollow you. And there are many other expressions you can find on www.support.twitter.com/articles/166337. And these are figures. 166337. I'll take that again. www.support.twitter.com/articles/166337. So there you can find a lot more of the expressions around Twitter. And again, let me say this one now. And we hear it all the time when people say, tweet at me at something, something. Tweet at me at something, something. The expression for that, for this space is tweet to me. You are sending a tweet to me. It's just English. There's an ellipsis of that, the first part of the sentence. Send a tweet to me at, so you mention your handle. So we are not tweeting at you, we are tweeting to you at your handle. So I guess all of us who are guilty of this will change henceforth. So how do you sign up to Twitter? If you want to create a Twitter handle, pretty easy. Go on to www.twitter.com and sign up. Once you go there, it's pretty easy. The steps are easy to follow. And then you sign up. Get your profile picture ready. Then write a brief bio about who you are. If you go onto my Twitter page, I think there's just three things there: a farmer, a teacher, and a blogger. And these are the three things I think define me proper. I'm a farmer, a teacher, and a blogger. So once you are done signing up, there are things you need to start doing to get into the Twitter game. You need to follow people. Now, understand that Twitter is a crowded banquet hall. There are so many people there you do not know. Some you may know. So once you enter that hall...
Estimatedly, how many people are on Twitter?
So when we say there are over 8 million people on Twitter. So when you go into that space, look out for people you know and subscribe to their accounts by following them. Hone in on a few interesting people. It's not everybody you should follow. I know how interesting it is for people to say, I have 1,000 people following me, I have 8,000 people following me, 10,000 people following me, 1 million people following you. It's okay. It's good for business under certain circumstances. But be careful to follow the right people. And do start a genuine conversation. Twitter is a slippery place. If you mess up, people will deal with you so savagely, you will regret. So take your time, learn to cautiously enter the fray. Start on a low key and grow gradually into the groove. No rush at all, especially if you're a business. Be careful. You can do direct messaging with people. You can send messages into their inboxes. You can retweet their messages and keep mentioning them, drawing their attention to your presence as well. Before long, they'll begin to recognize you. But while you are this, remember to craft your own voice. Be known for something. Be authentic and true to your values, and you will quickly become a valuable member of the Twitter community. You don't need to follow the crowd all the time. It is not because everybody is saying a thing, you must also say it. I mean, if you don't have anything to say, the best policy is to say nothing. There's this song that says you say it best when you say nothing at all. So craft your own voice, be authentic, be true to yourself, and gradually warm your way into the Twitter community. How do you manage your Twitter community once you are there? There are certain kinds of people you need to take note of. There are those we call the social mavens. These social mavens, their primary channel for brand or customer service and engagement is social media. They are always there, whether they are branding themselves or they are branding their businesses. As for them, the primary source, social is their primary channel for self-branding or service branding and engagement. Then there are the 24/7 communicators. For them, they don't know any service hours, and they reach out when thoughts are on their mind fresh. So if you put your business on Twitter, do not expect that people will only contact you for information during the daytime when you are awake. There are people who are there 24/7. So as and when they want to ask anything about your business, they will ask. They cannot be bothered about whether you are asleep or you are awake. So if you know you do not have the time to monitor Twitter, please, better don't play in that space. This is the thing. If you sleep in the night and somebody says something very damning about your brand, remember I said earlier, if crisis strikes you on Twitter, you have 4 seconds to take control of the narrative. If you don't, you lose it. So if you sleep for 8 hours, by the time you wake up in the morning and somebody says something damning about your brand, by the time you wake up, it could catch fire. Somebody creates a hashtag about your business and it's bad customer service or something, and people start tweeting and retweeting. Before long, you wake up and you are trending. You are trending for the wrong reasons. Some companies have suffered that, and they know how dearly they paid for that. So be careful. Then there are also the trend setters. These trend setters influence an expansive audience, and they frequently engage with brands on social media. These are people others want to call influencers. And please, that word is not influencer. Influencers are the trendsetters. They influence the discussions around your brand. They engage with brands a lot. They are the ones who will mention your brand and say they have suffered poor service or poor product and so on and so forth. Know those people and know how you can engage with them, identify them. So for those businesses that want to go onto Twitter, how do you set your goals and how do you grow your presence? First off, identify your near-term goals and make a plan. Don't jump into social media without a plan. And again, I say, any business that wants to survive in this digital age, the first thing before you even conceive the idea of jumping onto social media is to have a policy. We'll be talking policy on the last day of class in this studio. Get a policy. Get professionals to couch a policy that suits your house style. It is very critical. Do not dismiss social media policy in one line in your employee services guide book or whatever your company calls it. It's a full booklet. It has to be a full document on its own, and employees must be taught, must be trained on that document. So don't take it lightly. It's not anything we can even finish in 3 or 4 classes here in this studio. So if you need to do that, get professional help and put together a social media policy that defines how your employees can engage and how you can protect your reputation online. It's critical.
Right.
So identify your near-term goals and make a plan. 1. 2, create promotions and tweets specific to Twitter. Please, what you do on Twitter may not necessarily be useful for Facebook or for Instagram or for other social media platforms. So be careful to create to suit a particular space. Integrate Twitter into traditional campaigns. I mean, there's a way offline finds its way onto online and online onto offline. So be sure to integrate your Twitter strategy into your viral marketing strategy offline. Identify metrics to measure success, like your retweets, your site track, or message response time. These things are also very critical. How do you engage with your Twitter community? Response is key on Twitter. I say time is of the essence when you're on Twitter. On Facebook, you can manage 2 hours. You can come back after 2 hours and do. If it's your website, you can even manage 2 days. I mean, people will forgive you. But on Twitter, you don't have that luxury of time. So don't keep customers waiting. It is a real-time network, so you need to respond quickly. How do you respond quickly? You must be there. Now, if it is crisis that you are in and your customers are looking for answers, if you do not have the answers, especially for companies that outsource their social media management to agencies, always align with the agencies on a holding statement in crisis. When we come to the whole policy thing, we understand the nuances of this. Very, very critical. Stand out. Tweet unique info about your business in addition to interesting content. Please, the Twitter space is not a zombie space. It doesn't have to be that premium, proper chinchina thing. People can't even bend around it. It should be interesting to people. People want to retweet comments that is interesting, that is exciting. So play on in that fine space between being super formal and also very social on Twitter.
Right, just hold that thought for a second. If you just tuned in, you're live on your Superstation Joy 99.7, and we are here on Masterclass with your favorite social media specialist, consultant, Mr. Chris Wala Esikbe. And today we're discussing Twitter. Last week we talked about Facebook. Today we're discussing Twitter and the rudiments of Twitter. I want to open the phone lines now so that while we're talking, our listeners can also begin to call in and share their own experiences or their body of knowledge and ask questions. I've got a first question here on social media, and it says that, this is from Samuel Ajay in Dansoma, and it says that, why is this so? Every Twitter handle or username begins with an @
I think it's just the algorithm that is used to write the Twitter platform itself. This is
right.
A bit more technical.
It's a bit more technical.
Yes.
Okay, numbers to call. Phone lines are now open. Numbers to call 0302 216 541. That's 0302 216 541. You want to send us a message on WhatsApp, you can do that on 0244 340 437. That's 0244 340 437. The numbers to call once again 0302 216 541. Pick up that phone, share your experience. We really want to hear what your experience is, because we're talking about business and social media. Business and Facebook, business and Twitter. Now, I'm happy the way you started, this discussion on Twitter today, essentially likening the behavior of a bird with chirps, and it just keeps chirping continuously without stopping, to, I don't want to call it gossip, I want to call it chatter.
It is gossip. Well.
Where those who gossip, who know themselves, can't stop gossiping. So the idea is that it's an environment where people keep talking and they can't stop talking, which makes it slightly different from I think from Facebook. I've got Kwabena on the line. Let's listen to Kwabena, and then we can continue our discussion. Good afternoon, Kwabena. You're welcome to Masterclass.
Hi, good afternoon.
Talk to us, Kwabena.
I love the program. Very, very interesting, very educative. I got hooked onto Twitter a couple of years, not too long ago, about 3-4 years ago. And for me, it's one of the most exciting platforms I've ever encountered. It's a good place to research and get information quicker, find out what is trending, what is new, what is happening, what has happened. And it's that. But two things confuse me on Twitter, and if you can help me address that. The @ and then the hashtag. I get confused when I'm composing my... how do you interuse these two, what do you call it, keys?
Signs, okay.
The @ and then the hashtag. How do you use them?
Right. We will answer that question. Now, before you go, would you recommend the use of Twitter, as your experience has been, for any business person?
Absolutely, with capitals, absolutely. I think every business should jump on Twitter. because it's a very powerful platform. It's huge. And like the gentleman said, it's a platform that you advertise to one person and you end up advertising to thousands of people down that person's line. It's like more like network marketing. It goes to lots of people at a time.
Right.
Of course, I'll recommend it for any business to use. It's a great tool.
Right. Thank you so much, Kwabena. Please keep listening. Okay, so that's Kwabena there sharing his personal experience about his use on Twitter 2 years ago. Now, he wants to know, same question that Samuel J asked, why the use of the @ and the hashtag? Well, just before you answer, I've got Emmanuel from Amasama. Let's talk to Emmanuel as well, and then we can answer them both. Good afternoon, Emmanuel. You're welcome to Masterclass.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Emmanuel.
I just have a question, one or two. The key question is, I am trying to presume, with all humility, in our part of the country or in our part of the world, comparing your promotions or your activities on Facebook as compared to Twitter.
Right.
How effective will you recommend a campaign on Twitter as compared to Facebook, especially looking at the general public or the general target audience? Not because I'm trying to believe about 90% of the average Ghanaian person on Facebook may not know what Twitter is all about.
Right,
Will
thank you.
you want to recommend campaigns or on Twitter as compared to on Facebook? Why?
Right.
How do you go about it?
Right, thank you so much. I think that's a brilliant question. Kwabena, Emmanuel, please keep listening. We'll try and answer them. So let's do the hashtag and the @, and then we'll come to Emmanuel's question very quickly.
All right.
Yes.
So, between hashtag and the @ sign is basically for mentioning other Twitter handles on your timeline. If you have a Twitter account, you want to mention anybody, you want to reference anybody's tweets, you just use that. Once you type the @ sign, a list of handles will pop up. So you scroll through and pick whichever you want to mention. Some of them might not even be necessarily on your timeline. They will just pop up. But if you still want to mention them anyway, just click on them. Hashtag is an aggregator of content. If there's a hashtag called I Love Ghana by default on Twitter, anybody who uses that hashtag in any of their comments, all those comments are stored in a particular place. So as soon as you type that hashtag, you bring out information, every information that has been tagged with that hashtag. So it's an aggregator.
Right. So the hashtag is an aggregator of similar information, whilst the @ sign is in reference to specific users or handles.
Very much so.
Okay, I've got George from Adenta. Let's talk to George.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, George. You're welcome to Masterclass.
Thank you. Please, I just tuned in and last week I was on the program. I was able to go through Facebook, but as for Twitter, I don't know how I can start create a page for myself. So can you please, I know you've gone far, but can you please go over it again for me?
Okay. Please keep listening, George. We will attempt to do that for you while we try and also satisfy other areas of the program. There was a question from Emmanuel, which we didn't answer.
Yes,
if we
the
can do
question
that
as to
quickly.
whether we should, for the average Ghanaian or the typical.
His point is that
social
Facebook is
media
a lot more
user.
popular with average Ghanaian.
Yes.
Should they also begin to look at Twitter? What's that about?
So, it's true the numbers on Facebook are way high up there compared to Twitter. But what are you doing? Who are the people on Twitter? If those people are part of your target, of course, get them. There are people who enjoy Twitter more than they do Facebook. There are some people who have literally closed down their Facebook accounts just so they can be on Twitter because of the fun, the excitement, and somebody said the value of information you get if you want to do research or anything. So there are people who are there. If those people form part of your target, why not? But the danger with Twitter I mentioned earlier is that because of its very nature, if you take your foot off the pedal for 1 second and anything goes wrong, it can really cost you. So be advised when you want to venture into the Twitter space. But by all means, I encourage businesses to go there. And like any other social media platform, I say before you venture, be sure you have a well-defined policy sitting somewhere that all your employees understand how to operate before you go into that space.
So
because it could go against you.
Yeah, so our answer to Emmanuel is that, yes, it's a viable place because it's also where you have a lot of people, but the dynamics there are slightly different.
Yes.
So if Facebook has worked for you, research Twitter as well. It may also very well work for you. I've got Phyllis from Mamprobi. Let's talk to Phyllis. Good afternoon, Phyllis. You're welcome to Masterclass.
Good afternoon.
Phyllis, I've got a lot of feedback. Can you just tune down the volume on your radio set and speak to me through the phone?
Is it okay now?
Still a little feedback. Just turn it down a bit more for me.
Okay.
Yes, I think it's better now. Go ahead.
Okay. Please, I'm calling from Montpellier, and then I signed on to Twitter not long ago,
Right.
and then I just want to know how to I would use it, and then how to follow influential people.
Right. Okay.
Just let me know
Phyllis,
how to.
please
follow
keep
it.
listening and shout out to all the folks in Mamprovi this afternoon.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so just like the other person, she also wants to know, how do you use it? I think there was George from Adenta who also spoke about it very briefly. We're not going to go into the various steps. But how do you put your business out there?
So first of all, create an account on www.twitter.com. There are very simple processes.
Create an account.
Create an account. Create a handle.
And the URL is?
The URL is www.twitter.com.
Right.
So you can create your account and just get along with it. How do you follow influential people? First of all, who are those influential people you want? You know their names? Some of them use their real names on Twitter. So you can search for their names. If you find them, just follow them. I mean, following means subscribing to their handles as you go. So it is pretty easy.
Okay.
But please be careful which influencers or popular people you follow. Your business values may not necessarily be consistent with their values. So on Twitter, you need to show your personality, convey your brand's personality throughout all your interactions with conversational tweets. Do this and know who you are doing it with. There are people whose values do not reflect your business values. Be careful, otherwise things could go south for you.
Okay, I've got one on social media. This one is from Eugene from Dodo. Eugene says, may I please know how to advertise my product on Facebook, Twitter, etc.? Okay, I think, Eugene, you missed last week's show, but just very briefly, can we have an answer for Eugene? He wants to know how to put his product on Facebook and on Twitter.
So, first of all, create an account. Once you create the account, there are various things you can do. For Facebook, quickly, 1 minute. All right. Just pulling back.
Okay, while you're looking for that, I've got this one. Ifya Inosu. Ifya says...
I got it now.
Oh, you have? Okay, so
yes,
please.
so you set up a page, reach customers you know, boost posts to reach more people, track customer actions on your website, choose your advert audience, remarket to website visitors. And all of these, there are links to them you can find on www.facebook.com. Pretty easy to do.
Okay, right. I think Phyllis is back on our line. Let's talk to Phyllis again. Hello, Phyllis. You're welcome back to Masterclass.
Yeah, hello. Please, about the influential people.
Yes.
I know their names, and then I know what they have really done for society.
Okay, so your question is, how do you follow them? Do you use their real names or do you use pseudonyms?
So if you know them, search for their handles on Twitter and just follow them. Mention them in your tweets. But again, I say, be sure their values are consistent with the values of your business.
Okay.
Right. I've got Emmanuel on the line. Let's talk to Emmanuel. Good afternoon, Emmanuel. You're welcome to Masterclass.
Yeah, good afternoon. Sorry, I wanted to ask this second question when I was online.
Right.
Averagely, the average Facebook user is able to, if he has his own credit card or something, is able to do his own promotion directly.
Mm.
But with Twitter, if you choose in the country Ghana, are you able to make pay for promotions like, advertisements of your Twitter ad?
Right.
Because it looks like it doesn't accept, promotions or campaigns, or only want to pay for it from Ghana, Twitter ads.
Right, okay.
Am I right? Do you have any response to that?
Okay, thank you, Emmanuel. Please keep listening. We'll answer that question.
That's fine. Thank you.
Emmanuel wants to know, promotions on Facebook is pretty straightforward. On Twitter, he seems to have a little problem.
Yes, the dynamics are not the same. On Facebook, you can boost your ads and pay for them. It's not the same on Twitter.
What seems to be the problem?
Maybe that is just how it is set up for now. With time, the space will be open for search to be done. Most of the things people do on Twitter are conversational. So you put up something that is exciting. So last week, Let's Be posted, tweeted something about one young lady who, after national service, decides to go into Anwamo selling. And Let's tweeted something from her. And before long, Twitter literally shut down. Everybody started retweeting and sending DMs to her, they want to buy, and so on and so forth. So sometimes it's just a matter of couching the content that people can identify with. Ghana, we are sometimes very emotional with things like this. Oh, this is somebody who has graduated from probably the university, and after national service, they don't have a job to do, and they are selling Anguamo that we all do in the university. Oh, come on, let's just buy. Like we say, excuse me, like for shaggy reasons. So sometimes it's just a matter of getting the right language and letting it strike the chord with the right people, and you'll be good to go.
So it's also important I'm sorry, I got in there.
Fine.
It's also important because you did talk about influencers
Yes.
at some point,
Yes.
which I'm hoping that will be able to go a lot. It's also important who you're dealing with or who's talking about you or your product.
Yes. Very critical. Who is talking? That is why I said be sure the people's values are consistent with your values, or you are dealing with in a similar space. So I sent a message to the account. Lesis tweeted, I sell coconut oil, and this person there's Anguamo. So I sent a message to say, look, I sell coconut oil, the best coconut oil you can find anywhere in Ghana. So let's do business. These are people who are playing in the same space. Anguamo is done with Angwa, which is oil, and I do coconut oil. So just know that the people you are dealing with play in your space, or they have values that are consistent with yours. There are some people who, when they tweet anything from you, nobody will mind you.
Because of reputation.
Because of reputation.
So it's key how you handle yourself or your product or your business or whatever information you put on Twitter.
That is why
it's
you don't
a
just
much
jump
more
into the fray.
volatile space.
Please, that is it. So
Anyway, I've got an idea for the lady who's doing the Anguamo.
Okay.
And I know Lexus personally. He's my friend like that.
All
so
right.
I'm getting fancy.
that is interesting.
She can begin to sell it in leaves in the barmy.
Very much so.
You know what I mean?
And please remind
I'm
her.
not on Twitter, but I know Lexus, so maybe he can tweet
Remind
it.
her to use Elignam oils, the best coconut oil in Ghana.
I've got Ifya in Usu. Usu says, social media has helped me sell WhatsApp and Facebook, but Twitter, I'm not having much response. I sell shirts. Any advice? Please. Ifya, good program. Not surprising because it's coming from the Super Hits Radio. Okay.
It's a content matter. It's a content matter. What content are you putting there? Is it exciting for people? Or you just go and put shirt, I'm selling shirts, it's 1,000 cedis, come and buy. Please, people buy emotions. They don't just buy products. There's a reason why somebody would drive all the way from New Wager to Hachu to go and buy wache. It's not because there's no other wache on the road, or that the wache at Hachu is better than the rest on the road.
Or it's cooked better or something like that.
There's
There's something about it.
sentimental attachment.
That's it.
So couch your message to resonate with the people. You will be surprised. The same thing people will go to Cantamanto and buy. You are selling it in your car boot and they'll be excited to buy.
Sentimental attachment.
Yes.
And that's what becomes a product. Okay, I've got now from Spintex. Now says, what is the real impact of misspelling on Twitter? Like when someone wants to create a hashtag but mistakenly misspells it. For example, instead of typing hashtag life is good, the person types hashtag life is God.
Okay.
Is there an autocorrect feature or a way of later syncing all comments under the misspelled name under the correct spelling?
Well, interestingly, life is good and hashtag life is good and hashtag life is God are both hashtags. They would work in their separate spaces. Nobody will consider them as a spelling error. So anything you write under hashtag life is God will be aggregated under hashtag life is God. And anything else anybody types under hashtag life is good.
It's tongue twisting,
Yes, it's some way. It will be aggregated under hashtag life is good. They will not sync at any point, not at all. If you go to change the hashtag later, all the things you posted with the hashtag life is God before will not automatically change to hashtag life is good. No.
It will stay as
it will stay as S. Yes. So,
wow.
I mean, if your phone is able to, I don't know why your phone will give you, in hashtags, there are no autocorrects because you lump a lot of words together. So it is, your phone accepts them as a new word. So there's pretty much, if you like, no spelling mistake in hashtags.
I've got this one. You didn't add your name. It says, good afternoon. Please, how do I verify my account? And I'm sure they're referring to Twitter because that's what we're talking about today.
I think Twitter does that for you after you have received a certain number of followers and they are able to prove that you are authentic and so on and so forth. It's not as simple as it appears on the face.
Okay. I've got Kofi Yawa on Facebook, and he's asking, do companies necessarily need a social media presence?
If the companies intend to be profitable and sustainable in the long term in this digital age, they have only one option: to be on social media.
And I'll just add that I am not a social media expert, but having spent the last 3 weeks with you, Kofi Yawa, I think that it is a wise decision to begin to consider it. Any company, because you see, the thing is this: if something went wrong with your company and a customer was dissatisfied, guess where they will go to vent, their dissatisfaction? They go straight to social media. And within minutes, before you even find out, that's it. That's your brand gone.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had examples in this country,
Too many of them, actually.
I don't even want to cite the examples, but please, I think that as a company, you should begin to consider it. It's more like now you don't have a choice, because that's where everybody's going. When they're not happy, that's where they go to vent. When they're happy, that's where they go to talk about it. So if you won't put your product out there, at least be there to protect
your brand.
Brand.
That is what it is. I told you the very first day of class that research has indicated that 80% of our high schoolers use smartphones, and of that number, 100% is on at least one social media platform. This is a potential market for your business 2-3 years from now. So why would you not be there? Well, no problem. If you choose not to be there, your competition will be there. Your audience, your target market will be there, whether you are there or not, and it doesn't change anything. If you are there and you are able to take control of the conversation when it starts around you, tant mieux. That is to say, it's good. But if you choose not to be there, the conversation will happen without you anyway. So for somebody, their first contact with your brand will be a negative thing somebody must have said on Facebook. So if you are not there, how do you correct that negative impression? Before they meet your business, they would have had all kinds of perceptions about you before they meet it. So be there or be nowhere else.
And I think I think his question has just provoked a lot of response, because Kofi, you don't have a choice. You see, when people are idle and they're doing nothing, even when they're in church and they're on their phones, they're on social media. How many people will pick up a magazine to read it and pick up a newspaper and see that you put out an ad?
Not in our attention economy.
Even when they're driving, they're on social media.
People are too busy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyways, I've got Papa Ansa. Papa Ansa says, good afternoon, Mr. Host. How can I sign up on Twitter page? And also, how can I display my spare parts products I put on there after signing up?
Okay, again, back to the same thing.
Yeah.
Creating content. How to sign up? Go on to www.twitter.com. If you need help, professional help, get in touch with Chris Esper Consultant or any other professionals around town, and they'll help you do that.
Chris, do you want to put your number out again?
0243 996 772. 0243 996 772.
Right. Time check in the studio, 56 minutes past the hour 1. We will be rounding up in a few minutes. I'm not sure if we have a bit more time for one more phone call. But numbers to call, if you can get through, 0302-216-541. That's 0302-216-541. You can send us a comment again on 0244-340-437. We're here in the studio on Masterclass discussing Twitter as a social media tool for boosting your business. You talked about number of characters, 120 and now 140 and now 280.
And that is limited to certain language areas. I think English, Spanish, and 2 or 3 other languages.
What would be the main difference between the format of content on Facebook and on Twitter? I asked that because you can put banners,
Yes.
you can put design flyers on Facebook, whole document images on Facebook, but you can't. Well, I shouldn't say you can't.
It's okay.
Can you do that on Twitter?
I mean, on Facebook, there is unlimited space for characters, for text in particular. It's unlimited. But on Twitter, it's restricted. So Twitter thrives a lot more on visuals. And visuals must be in a certain format. So once you understand those dynamics, you should be good to go around there.
Okay, let's try and do a quick recap. Next week, what are we talking about?
Next week, we are going to go into strategy, the whole idea of social media strategy for your business. How do you pick that thing from the ground? How do you work it into your overall business goals for the year? How do you break them down into achievable small steps and so on and so forth till the end. We are going to go through some simple 5 steps, and you should be able to set every business on its way into this social media business.
And you know, what excites me about social media is that it's there in your face. It's growing. People do whole concerts and they post them on social media.
Yes.
So, you know, these days, everything is out there. There's Twitter, there's Instagram, there's YouTube, there's WhatsApp, there's Facebook. All of this is out there, and it's waiting to be used because that's where everyone has gone anyway. And we're encouraging you that once you're an entrepreneur out there, at least get there and find out what's going on. If you're not happy with it, then you don't do it. But otherwise, get there and find out what's on. What are your last words today as we wrap up?
So as we wrap up today, I say when you go out there, stay consistent. Let me give you a sneak peek into what we'll be talking about when we start talking about policy. If trouble happens on Twitter, don't be afraid to take matters offline when a private conversation might serve you better. It is important. It is not always the case that, the fight is happening there, we must be there. And I tell you what, very interestingly, there are fight promoters online. There are some friends who seems like I mentioned, but I would. They promote fights. They sit. They tag all kinds of people.
The fire.
They tag all kinds of people in the shade, and before you know it, it catches fire. So be willing to take it offline if need be. Twitter is a beautiful space, but it is slippery, and it can bring your business up or it can do it in. It shouldn't be a place you should be afraid of, but once you have the time to monitor, to watch, you'll be good to go. For those who are on 2-3 different platforms, on Twitter, you are on Facebook, you are on WhatsApp, you don't know how to handle them and it gets overwhelming, there are simple tools you can use to manage all of those in one space, on one dashboard.
Right.
Hootsuite.com. So it should be very easy for people to
I think somebody's asking for your number again, just very quickly. Then.
So my number again is 0243 996 772. 0243 996 772.
Unfortunately, I can't play your song today, but I'll play it for you next week. Thank you so
I'll
much.
sing it myself next week.
Okay, so please make a date with us same time next week. This has been Masterclass right here on your Superstation. Thank you for listening.